Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
A2D Radio, Sports Hounds, BMW Atlantic City Studios, Rob Brinkman, Brad Ryer, Frank Vesby produced. A little late start tonight. That's all right. Getting right into the NBA. We'll have the NHL, MLB for you later. Maybe we'll get to some NFL. Scanzano Sports poll question of the night. What is the Sixers' biggest offseason need they need to address? We got A, new coach, B, better players, or C, you trust the process. You trust what they're doing. You want to stay status quo. This team desperately needs a big-time wing so Robert Covington can be shifted to the bench or traded for a better player. So for me, the countdown to July 1st, NBA free agency, LeBron James going to sign the dotted line in Philly. I've been saying it for 2.5 years. It's going to happen. LeBron James coming to Philly. I can't wait.
Don't count on it.
Why not?
Well, because LeBron is going to go where LeBron wants to go. We don't really know. He hasn't really, let the cat out of the bag where he wants to go. Now, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, okay? But I'm just saying don't count on it.
But Brad, there's a 0% chance he's on the Cleveland Cavaliers on opening night next year.
I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. However, there's also a chance there's a couple of other teams he could end up going with. Do you think he might want to? Do you think that Houston would want to try to get him?
Everybody's gonna want to try and get him.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying. I'm not trying to say that the Sixers aren't going to try to get. Yeah, they will. We don't really know what LeBron is thinking right now. That's the whole thing. Is he going to man up and go to the West? Because he really does need to do that. That would really help his legacy.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
Because he still has people bitching and moaning because the obvious argument about
idiots.
Michael Jordan. No, I'm just saying the obvious argument about who was the better player between him and Michael Jordan. The Michael Jordan fans who want to criticize LeBron always say that he gets to the finals all the time because he plays in the East. I would like to see him sign with the Rockets and then let the Rockets.
But
and
then,
Golden State
he's
going to
go to the West and go to the finals. But he needed to go to Chris Paul's team and James Harden. See, he can't win. Anything he does, he can't win.
That's not fair because you know what? Michael Jordan didn't play basketball for 2 years, and the Chicago Bulls were one bad Hugh Hollins call away from being in the NBA Finals when they played the Knicks in the playoffs in I think 1990. What year was it? 1995.
It was 94.
94 or 95. I can't remember.
Correct.
But the
then
year
he came back in 96, and they went
right, and they won.
They won
a
3
championship.
again.
Right, but the bottom line is the 2 years that Chicago didn't have Jordan, they still made it to the semifinals. They were in the Final Four of the NBA championship without Michael Jordan. So this talk about Michael Jordan and LeBron James, and again, I'm not saying that I don't think Michael isn't better than LeBron. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is as far as the argument goes.
For the record, Brad, as much as I love LeBron, Michael's the greatest.
He is, but
LeBron can surpass him.
I think
Okay.
somebody will give him somebody will come up with a better offer.
You got to get a big time wing in here.
Yeah.
And if you can't get LeBron, if he goes to the Rockets, Mike Parker checked in before the Facebook thing went down. Colin Cowherd today coined the phrase LeBrockets on his show today, apparently. I didn't see it. I don't really pay much attention to what Colin
LeBron's going there?
Thinks he's going to the Rockets.
Well, I didn't.
That's fine. He's buddies with Chris Paul.
Yeah, I'm not making.
If that's what he wants to do.
I'm not making that.
He'll get
assumption.
murdered.
Who, LeBron?
Yeah, he'll get murdered. He's gonna get murdered either way.
Yeah. Well, if he leaves Cleveland, he's going to get murdered. But
There's a 0% chance he's on the Cleveland Cavaliers on opening night next year.
I wouldn't say zero.
Zero.
Might be.
I'm saying 0.
Yeah, I think
0%. There's no way. No shot.
Don't they have Brooklyn's pick this year?
Doesn't matter.
You don't think it's going to make a difference? You don't think
Doesn't
that they
matter.
could trade Brooklyn's pick and bring in a top-notch talent for him to play
The
with?
problem is that's their only asset.
Yeah, but that's a pretty good asset, though. Could be a top.
It's gonna work
could be
out
a
to be
top
what
3.
the 6th pick, something like that.
Maybe it's not though. Maybe it could be the 3rd pick or the 4th pick.
It's true. It is the lottery. We could
You
see.
know, yeah, you don't really know. I mean, that's the thing.
But
so
The Spurs aren't going to trade the Cavs Kawhi Leonard for the 3rd pick in the draft. That's not enough.
no, probably not.
So what? Georgia.
I mean, I'm just thinking.
The
out
Cavs
loud.
roster is trash.
Yeah, it's really not good.
It's not that good. It has LeBron on it.
Who would be somebody that the Spurs would want to? I mean, I know the Spurs are kind of old, and they probably would love to get some young talent on the team. I think the Sixers are a better match than the Cavaliers, but I mean, I could see the Cavaliers trying to be
Right. If
involved
Kawhi
in
wants
that.
to go to a big market, he's either going to come to the Sixers, or the Lakers have enough young talent to make a big time trade.
Yes, they do.
Maybe the Bulls, but I don't know about. I don't see that happening. You'd like to think
The Bulls are like the Knicks, Rob. They're in the same boat as the Knicks. They're not
I
really
think
ready
the Knicks. Well, with Porzingis on the shelf, the Bulls have a brighter future than the Knicks.
Well, I think the Knicks are going to tank this year. I think they're going to tank. I think the management is going to tank this year, and they're going to try to get like maybe a 1 or either the 1st or the 2nd pick in the draft, and then try again next year, and they'll have cap money and they'll have top draft picks, and then try again. I think this year is going to be a lost year for them. I can't. Let's put it this way: if I were their management, I mean, to go out and try to get this roster good again, it's just spending good money after bad. I mean, this year they're kind of screwed. You know?
Michael Mataraki checking in. Talent upgrade, big time, king size free agent will do it. I guess Mike is a LeBron guy. I didn't know if Mike was a LeBron guy or not.
Well, LeBron is the guy to get. Clearly, he's the one guy that can make a huge difference.
I don't understand the venomous hatred towards LeBron James.
Because he was such a douchebag about leaving Cleveland the first time. A lot of people really held that against him.
He said he was sorry though.
Yeah, I know. I understand.
He said he
that,
did it
but
wrong, and if he could do it again, okay.
Listen,
He went to Miami with his buddies.
Nobody's perfect. You know, I mean, he isn't a bad guy off the court. He's never done anything off the court to embarrass the NBA or himself, and he's been a very charitable guy, and he's been a really good guy. I mean, people need to just stop already, and there's just so much hate still for him, which I don't understand. Start appreciating. The fans in the NBA should start appreciating what a great player this guy is. I mean, he's an all-time great player.
It's true.
It's enough already.
Getting back to the poll
What
question.
horrible thing did he ever do? All right, he left Cleveland, but
Nothing.
he came back.
Nothing.
He got them a championship.
Where would you rather live, Cleveland or Miami?
I think I'd rather live in Miami. Yeah.
No doy.
Yeah, I mean,
Getting back to this Kansas City Sports poll question, though, I'm not firing Brett Brown.
no, that would be unfair.
That would be ridiculous. We're
Not
not the
after-
Toronto Raptors, thank God.
No, that
which
would be.
was we're gonna get into that in a second. That
Yeah.
was an absolute joke. That's a travesty for that man.
That would be
the
unfair.
Milwaukee Bucks or the Detroit Pistons are gonna have a phenomenal coach and be a real contender in the East with that guy. He's a fantastic coach.
Let me ask you a question. The Memphis Grizzlies.
Fizdale. He's gonna coach the Knicks.
Yeah, I know, but some of the guys that were on anybody on the team they could possibly that they would trade that could possibly help.
No, they're in
Philly. No. Okay. No, I'm just wondering about that.
No.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, I'm trying to think who
And then,
around the league would be.
Brad, if the Sixers stay status quo and don't add a big time wing, that's a huge that's a huge disservice to the process. That's a huge disservice to the process. If they just status quo it, maybe sign a role player or two,
No,
that would really disappoint me
that would be
because
year
after year after year.
They have to try to avoid that. I mean, what they've got to do is they've got to find if there has to be a plan B, Rob. If LeBron doesn't sign there, what's your plan B? And I hope that they have a plan B because they may need one. And their plan B should really be looking at a team that, that they got to the playoffs, but it's obvious that they can't do it with what they've got, and they're going to try to reboot. I don't know, maybe a team like Washington, maybe they could somehow try to convince them to get rid of Wall. I mean, maybe
Wall
a guy
just,
like
but just,
he's going to absorb the contract, and he'd be a guy that would make a huge difference.
That's not the point.
Do you think the Wizards are going anywhere? What do you think?
Define anywhere.
Do you think they're getting at? Do you think they're going to be getting to the conference finals in the next 5 years? Because I don't think that's happening.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Is it unlike? Are they as good as the Celtics? If the Celtics are
No. Are they as good as the Sixers? No. I think the Milwaukee Bucks are.
If the Sixers stay status quo, like
if the Sixers
they're
stay
giving all
status
these
quo,
teams like the Bucks and the Wizards hope.
Yeah, well, yeah, if they do, but I think the Sixers are going to go out,
Especially if LeBron leaves the East.
Yeah, well, yeah, that would be huge. But I mean, what about some of the West
If
teams?
the Sixers stay status quo and LeBron leaves the East and doesn't come to the Sixers, that opens up a whole can of worms for the second fiddle to the Celtics in the Eastern Conference.
Well, you have to look at some of the bad teams, at some of the real good players, some of the teams that are basically in a situation that they need to do something. They need to do something drastic because they're going to be trapped in their in their dust for the next few years. And I think maybe they look to some of the teams in the East that are, I mean, look, the Atlanta Hawks probably, if they would have stayed status quo, probably could have come in 8th place and gotten blasted in the first round of the playoffs. But they decided to reboot. That's the kind of team that they have to look at.
But these are not pushover teams at the bottom of the East anymore. I'm talking about like the 6, 7, 8 seeds like they were in years past. The Pacers have good players. The Wizards, I believe, were the 8 seed this year. They have good players. They probably should have been a higher seed if John Wall didn't miss 6 weeks. The Bucks have good players. All the Bucks need is Dwayne Casey, and they could be right there in the Eastern Conference Finals.
The Bucks wouldn't be a team that I would consider. But
they have no max talent.
So there's really nobody on that team that could.
They need the cultivated. I don't know. They need Pat Riley needs to get creative.
They're going to be in
make something happen.
They're going to be stuck in NBA mediocrity forever.
They had no talent this year. I don't want to say no talent. They have some nice players. They're still a 6 seed.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's about as far as they're going to go.
So I'm not firing Brown. I'm not staying status quo.
No.
I'm throwing. I'm talking like supermax mega deal, offering him ownership of the team, full court press for LeBron James.
Well, yeah. Again, I would do that too, but there has to be a plan B.
The plan B. Are they going to be willing to give up what it takes to get Kawhi Leonard?
That has to be plan B. And they obviously have the draft picks. They have
2 first-round picks this year. One should be around 10th. They could also lose that pick if the lottery balls don't fall their way.
Right.
And they have their own pick, which is looking like 24th, 25th, somewhere in that range. That pick doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. That draft pick gets you no value on the open market.
No, I realize that.
I have no problem trading Dario Saric if it gets me Kawhi Leonard.
Oh yeah, for sure. They would. They
Saric, Fultz, Covington, the 10th pick in the draft. I'm doing that.
That's a trade. They
all
would
day
have
for
to
Kawhi
make.
Leonard.
Yeah.
I'll sign role players. I'll find people. I'll find the new Robert Covingtons of the world. That's totally fine by me. If you're gonna give me a big, that would be my plan B.
Yeah, that would
Trading,
be something that they would have to do.
It's a lot to give up, but you're so close here. You're so close here. Because the way I figure it,
as long
Brad,
as you have a plan
you
B.
need three max.
Two.
If you sign LeBron, you have your 8. You have your 3 max guys in
absolutely.
Embiid, LeBron, and Simmons. You have
But that's not even a question.
Dario, Covington, McConnell, Redick, Bellinelli, Ilyasova. That's 9. Is that 8 or 9? That could be 9. That's a championship team. You win the title with that.
Okay.
You win the title with that squad. Yes, it's better than the Warriors. It's better than the Rockets. It's better. It's the best team in the NBA. If you're just plopping LeBron James right in the middle of the process, it's lock, stock, and barrel. It's 73, 74 win regular season.
They would be impossible to stop.
Records would be broken. Rings would be won. It would be incredible.
Yeah, they would be. Yeah. There's no way. There's no way they would lose.
Fultz, I didn't even include Fultz in that 9. So that could be a 9-10 man rotation.
But yeah, Fultz. I mean, you could still trade Fultz. I mean, let me ask you this, and maybe this is.
No. I'm not trading Fultz unless it gets me a max talent like Kawhi Leonard.
Suppose
you got to ride it out. You trade it up.
Is there any way you could get them both?
I would love to get them both.
Can you try? I mean,
of course you can try.
They have the assets to do it.
Of course you can try. This is why you do the process.
I mean,
this is why you do.
Listen, there's nothing to say.
You don't do the process just to pitter patter along and add draft picks here and there.
What I'm saying is they could.
No.
They could conceivably.
You get your 2 or 3 guys draft.
They have the money available that they could go and they could.
They have more. They have so much money.
They could sign LeBron and bring in Leonard. They could do both if they wanted to.
Right.
Do that.
You just got to figure out something when Simmons needs to get paid because they already paid Embiid.
Right. Right. But I mean, if you want to try to win next year and then worry down the line, I mean, Simmons has 2 more years before you have to worry about paying him. Or is it 3? 3. He's got 3 years. Isn't the rookie contract 5 years?
I mean, you're going to have to show some good faith with him and sign him.
No, I understand that, but you could still pay him because he's your own free agent. So
understood. And
so you can.
Yeah, you're going to have to give LeBron max money, but LeBron doesn't sign for the 8 years. $208 million that Steph Curry and James Harden are going to say.
LeBron will sign a 2-year, $60
LeBron will say,
contract.
LeBron will say, give me $40 million a year, but I'll take 3 years, 2 years guaranteed, 3 years I get to pick where I want to go again.
Yeah, he'll want 2 years, $60 million.
And then obviously, if you trade for Kawhi Leonard, boy, would that be something.
They could do that.
If they sign LeBron, and then trade Saric.
Well, they have enough guys to do. They
Fultz,
have enough assets to do that. That's the whole
Covington,
point.
And I guess a draft pick for Leonard. That's getting my attention if I'm the Spurs. It's not a bad offer.
No.
Whether they get outbid by the Lakers or the Bulls or whoever else wants to jump in,
I don't know who's gonna
that's up to the Spurs.
I mean, who's gonna outbid them? I mean, unless
the Lakers. The Lakers are the only team that can.
Unless the Knicks get involved and they put Porzingis in a trade, which I don't think they would do.
Porzingis has a bum knee.
Yeah, I know, but he'll be back in January unless the Knicks milk it.
January is a long time away, Brad.
No, I know that, but he's
there's absolutely no guarantee that he'll ever be the same. That's a huge leap of faith if you're trading for Porzingis.
Well, no, he could be part of the pack. He could be.
Brad, the Knicks
stink.
Just stink.
Just saying.
They're be talking about the Knicks, and
they could try.
You can try.
You could try. I mean, Leonard's had an injury all season too, so I mean, he's still a risk.
Not a torn ACL.
No, I realize that. And Porzingis isn't going to be playing again till January. And if as far as the Knicks are concerned, if the Knicks they're not gonna even let him play if they're like 8-30 by January,
which they're gonna be.
Be without him. They'll be like 8-30. They'll just say, "Oh, his knee's still bothering him. Oh, his knee's still bothering him," and they'll try to completely tank the season like the Sixers used to do, and try to get better that way because that's really the only chance that they have to do it. But I mean, they could conceivably try to do something along those lines. But getting back to the Sixers, I mean, they could conceivably try to get both of them. So I mean, there are players that can get traded that would really help them. I mean, what about? I mean, I'm just trying to think of some other guys. I mean, but the problem is the good team. Most of the good players are on good teams. You don't have too many good players stuck on bad teams anymore.
It's a
like
top-heavy league, which
Yeah.
it's been since the 60s.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, you don't have like one or two guys stuck in purgatory on bad teams like there used to be. I mean, even Sacramento traded Boogie. I mean, there's just who's left on bad teams. I mean, does Phoenix have anybody that's
No, they
any
stink.
good? They're horrible. I mean, the Nets don't have anybody worth making a deal for. Not that's going to put the Sixers past Boston. Most definitely not. I mean, if you look up and down the league, Atlanta doesn't have anybody. I mean, certainly the Kings don't. The Suns don't. Dallas doesn't. I mean, that's the problem. I mean, where are you going to go? Where are you going to go if these two things fail? Where are you going to go to get that player? Unless they make a basketball type trade. Not a trade that's the other team has to reboot. Unless you can actually make a basketball trade. You know what I mean? A player for a couple of players for a couple of players, in hope that that another team might need some depth and is willing to get rid of one guy to get two really good players for one very, very good player. Something along those lines.
All right, let me catch up on Facebook here. Looks like we're up and running now. Right? We're good? All right. Frank gave us a thumbs up. At minimum, we go after George. Like Parker. I mean, George. Okay, I mean.
Is George good enough to make a difference?
Yes, next to Simmons and Embiid, absolutely.
When is Westbrook going to be a free agent?
Westbrook is signed for life.
Okay, so
He signed the 8-year, 200, whatever
so
max that
he's
he
there.
gets. Michael Wesley Chromiak. Talent upgrade, fellas. I'm with Rob. My gut tells me LeBron is coming. I've been on that train for 2 years. Only way he doesn't come is if he stays in Cleveland. The process was designed to get us to this point. The next step is to a major max free agent. Philly is the perfect kingdom for King James. I'll pop the bubbly when he signs. I might have to borrow Chromo's crown if he signs.
How about they sign him and then they go out and they trade for?
It wouldn't be fair. The NBA can't allow that.
Why? They have to allow it.
They have to allow it. I understand, but it's not gonna.
Well, they let the Warriors get Durant. I mean, is that fair?
No.
Yeah. So I mean, if the Warriors are allowed to get Durant, then certainly the Sixers can go out and do that too.
One thing I will say, Mo, he's not staying in Cleveland.
No, I don't
there's 0% chance he's on the Cleveland Cavaliers on opening night. But what will it be? 2018, 2019 season.
Yeah, I don't see that either.
Michael Kleinkoff, watch out for the Nets. Do you think the Nets, in terms of LeBron going to Brooklyn? I don't see that at all.
Oh, okay.
I don't see that at all. But I mean, maybe they have the
Brad,
money.
I traded you for my computer, so
okay.
For some reason, something's not working with your computer, so I'm handing you mine that has the current live stream.
All right. Wouldn't be totally shocked, though, if they decide to make a minor improvement, make a run at Durant next summer. That would really irritate me, Chromo. That would really irritate me because you're a pubic hairs away from trailing the Boston Celtics for the next 10 years. If you stay status quo and wait, that's a huge mistake. The time is now. This team won 52 games. Their coach is in place. Their role players are in place. As long as they don't have to make a trade and trade all these role players for a Kawhi Leonard and they can nab LeBron James, I'm totally against waiting. A minor improvement.
Why would you wait now? Why do you have to wait now?
Minor improvement.
You're set now. Your team is set. Go for it. Now's the time to go for it.
I totally agree.
Golden State is not getting any younger. Cleveland is going to be done. The real team that you have to go after is Boston at this point. Boston is the team that you're going to be fighting with every year to try to win a championship.
Dion Brown. Yo, what up, Dion? What up, fellas? Poll question. What's the biggest move? High-level free agent, someone with leadership capabilities, do whatever it takes to acquire and make Philadelphia a spot for LeBron, a Paul George, but that's me. Frank, can you look up Paul George's? The way I understood it online when I looked it up earlier is that he is a restricted free agent this summer, and he will be an unrestricted free agent next summer.
All right, let's see. Paul George contract.
So if Paul George,
it's pretty much understood though that the Lakers are gonna knock it out of the park to get him. They're gonna offer him a poison pill contract so that nobody else can sign him.
He becomes an unrestricted free agent in 2019.
the summer of 2019.
Right. Okay,
So they would have to make a trade with the Oklahoma City Thunder to get Paul George. For him to be on the team on opening night next year, they have to make a trade. They have to make a trade for Kawhi Leonard.
I wouldn't do that with George because you know what? You can't do that because
it's the same package.
Yeah, but you can't get for a guy who's going to leave, who could conceivably leave after
Brad,
1 year.
Make sure you sign him before you do the deal.
Okay, you got to sign him before you do the
Yeah,
deal. Yeah,
you're not stupid.
Yeah, okay, because they have to do that. So we got David Roscoe. What's up, boys? Boston Celtics versus the Houston Rockets in the finals.
Okay, I couldn't disagree with that statement more.
I doubt that. And then Las Vegas Golden Knights will win the Western Conference Series in Game 6.
Boy, the Jets really put it on them in Game 1, though.
Yeah, I think
the Jets are fucking good.
Yeah,
they were playing crisp hockey.
They're up against it with Winnipeg. Winnipeg is a lot better than I thought. Boy, oh boy, that team can skate. They're a real good team. I honestly I didn't see that coming.
Mike Parker, Paul George is playing C. As far as the Eastern Conference Finals go, folks, don't let Game 1 fool you. LeBron is going to bounce back with a triple-double. I guess they play tomorrow night. He's going to bounce back with a triple-double. It's going to be 1-1. They're going to have home court, and everything's going to be fine.
I would agree.
Everything's going to be fine.
LeBron is going to
Cavs in 6. Everything's going to be fine in LeBron land, in Cleveland, for a couple more months until he comes to the Sixers.
Well, that could happen.
As far as and boy, man, we're gonna this Western Conference Finals
should be very interesting. But I got to be honest with you, Rob. I mean, as much as I would love to see Houston win, I have no faith.
Oh, I'm rooting for the. I mean, you know how I feel about Steph Curry.
I can't stand
the Warriors.
Steph Curry. I mean, I can't stand the Warriors either. But I just can't.
The only guy I like on that team even a little bit is Klay Thompson. I wish he would go to another team.
Yeah.
He can defend. He can shoot. Yeah. He's a 3-and-D guy.
Yeah,
Sixers fans. Robert Covington is not a 3-and-D guy. Klay Thompson is a 3-and-D guy.
Klay Thompson can shoot the ball too.
So sick of Robert Covington. Oh, he's 3-and-D guy, Rob. What do you mean? First team all defense? No. Get out of here with Robert Covington.
Klay Thompson.
He's the eighth man.
Tremendous player.
Let me ask you this, Brad. How many minutes would Robert Covington play on the Warriors?
He'd be a garbage time player.
If that, he'd hand out the towels in the water during the timeouts.
He'd be playing.
He'd make sure Steph Curry had a place to sit right in the front, so Steve Kerr could draw up the play.
It would be.
He would never play.
He would be real garbage time for them. It wouldn't be garbage time. It would be garbage time for him on the Warriors. But that's not fair to put him in that class, though. I mean, you're right. Klay Thompson is just a tremendous player. I mean, he's one of the premier players, and he gets no press. The guy I can't stand on the Golden State though is Draymond Green. Oh, that guy is just such a jerk. He really is.
Simmons, Redick, Leonard, LeBron, and Embiid. Man, that sounds unfair. That is unfair.
Yeah, well,
that is unfair.
That's today's NBA, though, guys. I mean, you know what? If Miami was able to get LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh on the team at the same time, and Golden State is allowed to have Kevin Durant and Stephon Curry on the team at the same time, with Klay Thompson.
Well, we talked about needing 3 max players to win a championship. The Warriors have 4 max players.
Yeah,
which is unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean,
kudos to them for finding Draymond Green in the second round.
Yeah. As much as I can't stand him, he's still a tremendous player, and defensively, he's scary to go up against because, he's a dirty player, and you always got to worry about what he's going to do to you if you go around him.
Yeah.
But
like I said, don't be fooled by Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. LeBron's got it in 6.
No,
he won 1.
All Boston
It'll be
did,
1-1 soon enough.
Rob, all Boston did.
They
was
won
hold
Game
serve.
1 at home.
They held serve.
Held serve.
They held serve. And to put it into tennis terms, they held serve. That's a game. They're supposed to win Game 1 at home. Okay? We'll see about Game 2 because Game 2 is a big game. Game 2 could be a potential series-changing, momentum swing type of game. If the Cavaliers ever win Game 2, the series could end up only going 6.
Greg Milikovic, new GM. I'm not sold on that rat-faced Colangelo, but with the options given, it's easily a talent upgrade. I don't disagree with Greg there. Colangelo's he's built a lot of good teams in his day that have never gotten the job done. And the way he handled Chris Bosh being a free agent. Chris Bosh was on the verge of staying in Toronto. And then Colangelo boxed him into a corner, so he went to go play with LeBron and Dwayne Wade in Miami.
Well, he wanted to win.
If it wasn't for Brian Colangelo, there might not have been a big 3 in Miami.
Yeah, but
and LeBron might have been a Cav his whole career.
It was pretty much. That's not really fair though, because LeBron and Bosh.
What do you mean it's not fair? That's what happened.
That's not fair to say that because LeBron and Bosh. It was pretty much that those two guys were going to be a tag team. I mean, everybody was saying that before LeBron signed in Miami that Bosh was going to go with him wherever he went. Because I remember the Knicks were in hot pursuit of LeBron, and everybody was saying, well, if they get LeBron, they're going to get Bosh too, because those two guys are going to be a tag team tag team partners. So I don't know if that's really fair. I think he was leaving Toronto because the tax situation in Canada. I think that's what it came down to.
But GM, we'll see. Hinkie gave Colangelo the keys to the Viper, so to speak.
He did.
The keys to the Mustang.
He took the beating, but meanwhile
it's his job to put all these assets to use.
Yeah, he got the assets in here.
Assets meaning the cap space, the remainder of the draft picks,
right,
and the young talent that they have to potentially make a trade.
Now who drafted Embiid and who drafted Simmons? Was that Colangelo or was that
Simmons? Simmons was drafted by Colangelo.
Okay.
With assets accumulated by Hinkie.
Okay, and
Hinkie picked Okafor. Hinkie picked Embiid. Hinkie traded Drew Holiday for basically Nerlens Noel. Hinkie got you Saric. Hinkie found you Covington and McConnell.
So
this is Hinkie's team.
Yeah,
Don't forget MCW.
MCW. That's correct. Rookie of the Year. Traded classic sell high candidate. Is he even in the league anymore? What is he doing?
I think the last time I checked, he was a member of the.
He got traded from there too.
Yeah, I think he went to Chicago for a little bit.
I remember him on the Bulls.
And then he went to the Hornets or something.
Wow, he's really.
Yeah.
Michael Carter Williams was a good player, but
clearly not. But
he was a good player when he was with the Sixers, and then when the Sixers traded him, it seemed like he was never heard from again.
I think I know with some of the Facebook groups and everything, I know they were making some arguments saying that, MCW was padded stats on a very bad team, which, to be fair, the Sixers that year when MCW won it was pretty unwatchable.
It was terrible.
Yeah, it was
they
terrible.
Were awful.
But I guess the stats managed to win you Rookie of the Year, but yeah, definitely after he traded, he just dropped
He's on
up.
Charlotte now. So, and this season he averaged 16 minutes. Wow. Well, I'll tell you what.
Yeah. His production.
Yeah,
But my point being is
down.
This is Colangelo's offseason. It's time for him to make something happen.
4.6 points and 2.2 assists. Did you ever think that he would be a 4-2-2 guy? 4 points, 2 assists, 2 rebounds.
I mean,
I didn't mind-
I
I
always
didn't-
wanted to
and
imagine
16
how
minutes, 16 minutes a game.
how MCW would have fared in the rest of the process had he not been traded. It would have been very interesting
I
to
wasn't
see where he would have
heartbroken
gone.
when he was traded.
I was surprised, but
I kind of like double checked my phone on the alert. Like,
Yeah.
wow, they traded the rookie of the year.
Yeah,
But-
it just seemed to like more tempting.
Yeah, I
when he
wasn't
did that.
heartbroken.
surprised a bit.
I
when
thought
it
he
first
would. I
happened,
thought he was
but-
going to develop into way better of an offensive player.
Oh yeah,
Like, his shot just never came.
just nothing
No. He's
really
just-
formulated.
He's not a great shooter. That's the problem.
And I remember seeing something on Facebook with they made like an MCW bad shots mixtape, and it was just
was terrible.
it was terrible. It was terrible to watch, but
He couldn't
it was
play
funny
offense.
to watch it. Yeah, could not get it done.
Chromo was also completely fine when they shipped out MCW.
So really,
Simmons
this
was the
is-
only good thing BC has done to date, and that was because of Hinkie, of course. That's a tad unfair, Greg. He did pick up Ilyasova and Bellinelli that really completed your team, filled out your roster this year.
You know what? He
Ilyasova
had some
came
under
in.
the radar. He did
He
some
brought
under the radar stuff.
he brought Reddick to town. So I mean that's a little unfair to say he did nothing, but I agree with him. The clock's ticking. This is where you judge Colangelo. If he can make it happen for Kawhi, a Paul George, or sign LeBron, or do all of the above and really put a super team together, that's where Colangelo is going to make his money. Because, you know, even the draft picks they're going to have this year, I mean, they're going to have their own draft pick, but they're going to have the extra pick, hopefully, if the ping pong balls fall their way. It should be outside of 2 through 6. So they should have the Lakers pick. So they're gonna have to get a good player there, because they missed on Ja when Hinkie missed on Ja, big time.
Yeah, that's surprising.
But
too.
you know, shit happens. You
Yeah,
know?
it happens.
And obviously last year Colangelo really wanted Fultz. That's a black eye on him.
Yeah, it was
So far.
it-
I'm
so
not
far,
ready to give up
We're
on
not
Fultz.
judging like 1 year.
I was going to say it's a little early.
Yeah.
It's a little early to give up on Fultz right now.
And-
By the way, I got a score of the hockey game right now.
Who's
The Vegas Golden Knights are ahead 2-0.
there? You go. That's gonna be a
Okay.
war.
So before we anoint Winnipeg as the
I didn't know.
Western
I said they
Division
played
champion,
crisp, solid hockey
know,
in game
but
1. I
before-
didn't annoy anyone.
before certain people at this radio station, who I'm not going to name any names, but I see them on Facebook.
Oh,
Before they anoint the Winnipeg Jets as the
Our neighbor to the north,
yeah.
Wilder.
good old
Yes.
Winnipeg Wilder.
yes, before we anoint them the
come on,
Western
he's
Conference
jacked up.
champions,
Yeah,
He's always
still have to-
catching a buzz. He was probably worked up, you know.
yeah.
he just to let him know, Vegas is not going to go down without a fight. So, just
Well,
wanna-
Fleury was
he was
not good in game 1.
He was less than exemplary. Yeah, he had a tough game, but remember he's also a 3-time Stanley Cup winner. So before you beat them, you're gonna have to make sure that you finish them off. They're not dead till the game's over. And
Dion Brown, they mismanaged. They shouldn't have traded Drew Holiday. You can't say that because
Oh,
if you
boy.
kept Drew Holiday, you don't have Dario.
And you don't have the beginning of what would be called the process, because that was the first moment when Sam
then-
Hinkie became the GM.
And then they traded Evan Turner too, right? Wasn't that part
Fire
of it too?
sale.
Evan Turner got traded, and
He was such a stiff.
no, I know he was, but he was still their point guard. For
I
God knows how
still
long.
can't believe.
They kept him around for a while.
What was the idiot's name? Ed Stefanski.
Stefanski. Oh,
He picks
jeez.
Evan Turner over DeMarcus Cousins. Are you kidding me? A 6-year-old could have made that pick.
Oh, wow,
Are you
he was kept
kidding
around.
me?
The first year in of the process, 13-14. That was Evan Turner's last year in a Sixers uniform.
And then he left
Yeah.
via free agency. Or was he traded at the
I
deadline?
believe he was traded.
No, he was.
if I remember
No, they
correct.
traded.
They traded him.
Because then Thad was traded.
Spencer
and
Hawes was traded.
Spence.
Yeah, I mean, all those guys that they had got traded.
Yeah.
Greg True about the Euros,
Jeez.
and I gave him credit for that during the year, but the way it ended, those guys most likely won't be back. I wouldn't say that because if LeBron James comes to the Sixers, guys are gonna be lining up to play at league minimum deals to get a ring, like we saw in the Spurs for all those years. Like we see guys do with the Warriors now. Like guys will do with the Rockets next year.
Like Andre Iguodala did.
Like
Like,
JJ Redick will stay in Philly next year if LeBron comes at less than a $23 million cap hit.
Oh, absolutely.
He said so as much in his closing press conference.
Yeah, I mean
He said it was the most enjoyable season of his career. He loved playing in the city. He loved the city. He loved the fans. He loves Brett Brown. The players love Brett Brown. For as much as I criticize him, he does have the pulse of the locker room.
No, and you know what? If they love him and they play hard for him and they believe in his system, then you know what? That's 3/4 of the battle right there. The rest of it obviously is to execute
The system
game plan.
part. The system part is where I have the problem
Well,
with Brett Brown. Just a little
they
bit.
have to. Yeah, but
Just
it's not,
a little
it's
bit.
not his fault.
Whatever
that-
system he implies is going to look a whole hell of a lot better with LeBron James on the
it's
wing
not all
instead of
his
Robert
fault.
Covington.
It's not all his fault though that Ben Simmons does not have a mid-range game yet as far as shooting. But if Ben Simmons works hard, there's no reason why he can't develop that. That's not something that can't be taught. Shooting can be taught. Shooting can be coached. That's something. Just because somebody isn't a great shooter to start, they can become a great shooter.
I mean, Kawhi Leonard went outside the top 10 in his draft year because they said he couldn't shoot. He shoots fine now, and he's the second best player in the league, in my opinion.
Larry Bird was not as great a shooter as he was. He was not as great in the NBA when he first came in as far as shooting. He was more of an all-around great player. He became an incredible sharpshooter as he got older. But not everybody comes into the league and is a sharpshooter.
All right, let's get into the West here a little bit. That game's going to kick up, what is it, 10:30?
A couple of minutes. 9 o'clock, I think, right?
10:30, I thought. It's in
No, it's in Houston.
Oh, no, you're right. It's in Houston.
It's in Houston, so I think it starts at 9.
I was hoping for a 10:30 start, Brad, and drive home and not miss any.
I'm sorry. Listen, I don't make the NBA schedule, so can't help you there, Rob. But
Maybe you should with these bogus 6 o'clock starts in the playoffs. Why can't they just start the game at 7?
yeah, I know.
Frank, they start the game at 7 for 4 months, and then in the playoffs they got to change it all.
Oh, yeah.
And for 40 years, they've been playing at 7. Now, all of a sudden, it's 6.
Yep, 9 o'clock. You're right, Brad.
Yeah.
Rockets have home court advantage. The Rockets are a slim 1.5-point favorite tonight. Brad, this is actually the first game the Golden State Warriors have ever been underdogs when Steph Curry and Kevin Durant are both active. First times tonight.
Could be the first and only time.
It could be the first and only time. You're
Could
right
be the
about
first
that.
and only time.
I got the Warriors in 6 here.
Yeah, I agree completely with that assessment. I do think the Rockets.
Maybe
will
it'll
win
go
a couple.
7.
The Rockets will win a couple, but you know what?
Should win a couple. A sweep wouldn't surprise me. The Warriors are just too good.
The Rockets. Let's be honest. James Harden never seems to play his best game in a big spot. He just doesn't. Not when it comes to this team. Not when it comes to playing against the Warriors. It just seems like the bigger the spot, the smaller James Harden becomes.
Yeah, I mean he has to buck that.
You know what? He's got to show everybody.
The only way to buck that stereotype, that rep, is to
he's got to do what Ovechkin
win.
did. Get past Pittsburgh.
We're going to talk about him after the break because he's really making me eat my words. I'm not proud of him at all because he's actually playing aggressive in the postseason, which
Well, I told you he was
is
off to a real good start.
surprising to
But
me.
anyway, But getting back to James Harden, James Harden has got to prove that he is bigger than the moment, and he is not.
Chris Paul as well. Chris Paul is
Chris Paul
notorious
too.
for coming up small
these
as
guys,
well.
These guys. You know what? He's got a running mate now with Chris Paul. Go out there and beat the Warriors. I know the Warriors are really good. I get all that, but you know what? Houston has some of the best talent that's been assembled in a while in this league. Go out and beat the. I mean, other than the Warriors, this is probably one of the most talented teams we've seen in years on that team. Other than the Warriors.
As far as the Rockets,
yes,
they're very good.
that team is.
They have a
really,
lot of good players.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They have
That
Eric
is,
Gordon, they have Clint Capella,
they are loaded.
Ryan Anderson can shoot the lights out.
They are loaded. Go out
Paul
there.
and Harden.
Go out there.
But the problem with the Rockets is they have 2 max players. They don't have 3.
But they can
And
score.
the Warriors have 4.
But they can score.
I understand.
At
Mike
will.
Marshall has the Warriors in 5. Deion Brown, I have the Rockets in 7. I don't know why. I just feel it. Okay.
I hope so. I mean, listen.
Hey, let me be clear. I picked the objective sports talk radio host picks the Warriors in 6.
Agreed.
The Rob Brinkman that's going to be on the couch watching as a fan hopes the Warriors just get run out the building 4 straight and they go home crying.
Yeah.
I hate the Warriors.
That's
Can't
my
stand
feeling,
Steph
too.
Curry. You know what I would do? If I were LeBron James when he makes the finals and it's going to be the Cavs and the Warriors for the 3rd straight year, I'd put Gorilla Glue on his mouthpiece so it has to stay in his mouth the whole game.
Yeah, he's just such a disgusting, vile person.
It's gross.
I can't stand.
It's
stand
gross.
Curry. He
But
just-
then again, if you Gorilla Glue his mouthpiece, he can't throw it into the crowd when things aren't going his way
Yeah,
and get
right?
himself kicked out.
He's most overrated player in the history of the NBA.
Well, I don't know about that. He's probably the best shooter I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, that's what he does. That's it. He's not a great passer. Doesn't really have a great inside game. Plays no defense. Stops and shoots a million threes. Great shooter. He is a great shooter. I agree. But you know what? And yes, he can get his own shot, but he's not an inside player. He doesn't play any defense. I don't believe he makes his team better. The team won 2 rounds of playoffs without him, or a round and a half of playoffs without him.
He's not the best player on the Warriors. Kevin Durant is.
Exactly. That's
So
my
I agree.
point.
I agree with you there.
He's. I mean, but people make him out to be an all-time great player. He's not an all-time great player. He's not LeBron James. He's not a wart on an elephant's fanny compared to LeBron James. He's just not. He's not. You know. He
I
does
agree
one
with you.
thing
It's
very,
just
very
nice
well.
to hear someone other than me say that.
Yeah, but bottom line is he does one thing really, really well. He doesn't do everything well the way LeBron
He's
does.
a really good passer, and he has the size to defend opposing point guards. Is he an elite defender? No.
Can he guard anybody on the court?
No.
Okay. LeBron can guard anybody on the court.
So can Durant. So can Kawhi
Right.
Leonard. Yeah.
Mhm. Exactly.
He's a cut below those guys. I totally agree with you.
Yeah, that's my point.
But people get oohed and ah by the 3-pointer.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
Okay. Well, that's
LeBron can't make 7 threes in a game, so Steph Curry must be better.
yeah, but LeBron just blocks shots, plays defense, gets rebounds, makes great passes. LeBron's a better passer than Curry. Curry on his best day is not as good a passer as
LeBron's the best passer in the league. He's 6'8", 270.
yeah, and
It's
that-
ridiculous.
And that's the whole point. He's a man child. You know, he's unguardable.
He's not clutch and he's not a winner, though.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Just saying.
the three
Here's
rings,
a question.
The 3 rings that he has would
I
say
asked this.
otherwise.
I asked this, Frank and Brad. Maybe you guys can answer it. I asked this to every LeBron hater. How are you not a winner if you have 4 MVP awards and 3 championship rings? How are you not a winner?
Well, his detractors would say because he plays in the East instead of the West. But that's a dumb
just
argument.
such a-
But you know what? That's still a dumb argument because you know what? He may play in the East instead of the West, but the bottom line is he still has gotten to the finals 8 years in a row, and he's won 3.
7.
7 in a
okay.
row, possibly 8 in a row.
Possibly okay.
He's in
7
the
in a row.
mix. He's in the mix with
Yeah.
Okay.
a squad of
7
mutts, by the
seven-
way.
7 in a row. Okay. Who besides Bill Russell did that?
I don't even know, to be
Okay.
honest.
Besides Bill
But
Russell.
besides Bill Russell,
I mean, Jerry West maybe, but like
I don't know.
the Lakers never.
that's not a
The Lakers
that's not a
never-
Celtic.
Robert Ory
The
made a
Lakers
lot
never
of
beat the
finals in a
Celtics.
row.
Yeah,
Robert Ory went.
7?
yeah.
I don't
Horry
know. He
never made
might-
it 7 in a row.
He made a lot though.
He made a lot of appearances, but
because he was on the Lakers and then he went to the Spurs.
Yeah, but he was in the right place at the right time. He's more of
right.
the right
Robert
place at the
Ory
right time,
is
guy.
a role
that's
player.
fine. Though.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's a good player, but I mean, he's in the right place at the
Also,
right time.
let me ask you this. Here's another question that basketball fans refuse to ask because it's a blasphemous question. How good and how valuable is Kyrie Irving when the Cavs and the Celtics are where they are without him?
Ooh, you like that? That's a little zing.
I'm just
That's a
asking.
little zing. All the LeBron haters out there. That's a little zing.
Oh, he only won because he had Kyrie. What do you mean?
Oh,
He
yeah.
didn't have Kyrie this year. He's in the Eastern Conference Finals. The Celtics don't have Kyrie.
And they're in
the Eastern
Con- and they
Conference
beat-
Finals.
And they beat a real good Philadelphia team, by the way, to get there.
Without Kyrie
Without
Irving.
Kyrie, and without Gordon Hayward, and without Brown.
So I'm just asking.
Yeah, no, it's a silly argument. The guy is at worst the third greatest player to ever play the game. At worst, if you
Who?
want to put it behind Wilton and Jordan, then you can put
LeBron
it behind
or Kyrie?
LeBron.
Okay.
Okay, so let's stop with the argument. You can argue about You can argue
I'm
about
just
those
asking.
three players.
'Cause nobody can answer. Nobody can answer the first question. It's unanswerable.
right.
People who say LeBron's not a winner,
No,
it's ridiculous.
That's silly.
And if he
Yeah.
doesn't have his 5th MVP award in a couple weeks, I'll have a meltdown here on the Sports Hounds. A complete meltdown.
He
If
should.
they
Oh,
give
boy.
the MVP to James Harden over LeBron James, that's a travesty.
Well, they better be.
it's
He
a
better be
travesty.
winning. He better be winning an NBA championship if that happens.
It doesn't matter.
I know it's a regular.
One
season
doesn't
award.
have anything to do
I
with
know,
the
but
other,
you,
Brad.
You understand where I'm going, though.
I understand where you're going, but where you're going is wrong.
Let's put it
One
this way.
doesn't have anything
the
to do
Cavaliers
with the other.
would be a 20-win team without LeBron James. I do think the Rockets would probably be a playoff team without.
They
Harden.
might not even get to 20.
Okay, maybe not.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Okay, maybe 15. They really.
They'd be a
aren't good.
dog shit team.
Yeah,
I'll tell
they'd
you
be-
that.
They would be awful. They would be really bad. They would certainly be a lottery team.
But LeBron's not a winner. Okay,
he is
he's
a
got
winner.
4
He
MVPs
is
and
a
3
winner.
rings.
Everybody,
He's not a
listen,
winner.
I didn't particularly like LeBron's act because I don't like the way he acted when he went to Miami and left Cleveland the first time.
Totally fair criticism.
But
Totally fair
and
criticism.
you know what? I didn't like the fact that he went and he had to have he had to have those two guys with him,
Chris Bosh
and
and Wade.
Dwayne Wade. He had to have two great players with him to win a championship.
He was still the man there, though.
But you know what, though?
He
They
was
still-
by
Yeah.
far the best
Yeah,
player.
But they
on the
still
team.
went. They still went in 4 years. He still went to 4 championships. He still went to 4 finals.
And as good as those teams, his Heat teams were, those Spurs teams that he played, which he split with,
Yeah.
those teams were really good too.
Yeah, I mean the Spurs were an outstanding team. They were deeper than the Heat.
Jordan never beat a team like the Warriors or the Spurs in his 6 NBA championships. I'll tell you that.
As far as Jordan,
Absolutely not.
what about the Phoenix Suns? They were pretty
no,
darn good.
come
When they had
on.
KJ and Barkley?
Stop. Over the Warriors team that won 73 games? Over the Spurs with Duncan, Parker, and Ginobili in
trying
their
to
prime?
remember. Seattle had a pretty darn good team when they had Kemp
I mean,
and
Sean Kemp and Gary Payton.
Gary
I mean,
Payton.
come on.
Utah had Malone and Stockton. Who's the other 3 teams?
Stockton, Hornacek.
Yeah,
He
that
played
was a
the
good-
Jazz a couple times,
Yeah.
twice.
Yeah.
Jazz
Played the
were really
Sonics
good.
once. He played Barkley once.
He played the Lakers when they had Kobe. They didn't have Shaq. though.
No. He played Magic's Lakers.
The Magic's Lakers. Okay, he beat Magic's
92.
Lakers.
He beat Magic. That was like the passing of the torch.
Right. He beat
The end of the
Magic.
Showtime era.
Right.
The end of the Showtime there. Then
Right.
Michael took the torch,
Yeah.
and then
Did
And
they
6
still have-
titles in
did
8
they
years.
Did they still have Kareem then?
Kareem retired in 90.
Okay,
So and Magic, he was a year after he retired the first time.
They had Magic.
They still had
James Worthy.
They still had James Worthy. Trying to think who else. James Worthy. Rambis wasn't on those teams anymore. AC Green was probably still on the team at that
he
point.
wasn't that good though.
Yeah, but
AC
still an
Green
important
was-
part.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not like a Hall of Fame
Right.
level player.
Yeah.
Right, but
okay, I mean, okay, you could make the argument that Jordan didn't beat some great teams, didn't beat great teams to get in the finals.
But
the
there's
way
all these false
LeBron did.
narratives when you argue LeBron over Michael, or Michael over LeBron. Wherever you say, I'm still a Michael guy over LeBron, unless LeBron wins the championship this year. That puts him over Michael. But like you said earlier, the book is still out on LeBron James.
Yeah, the
LeBron
career
James
is-
could play till he's 50 easily if he wanted to.
The career is not over. Okay, he's still playing. Who knows how many championships he's going to get, how many championship opportunities he's going to get. We don't know yet. We don't know how much longer he's going to play.
Oh wow.
You know, and if he continues to stay in great shape, he may have to play less minutes during the season. But you know what? If he stays in great shape, he's just such a great athlete and so big and strong. Who's to say that the guy can't play into his late 30s and be extremely effective?
Oh, LeBron's playing till he's 50.
Well, I mean, I don't know how
He can if
effective
he wants.
I don't know how effective he's going to be, but he could definitely play into
He
his
could
late
easily
30s.
be a role player in this league until he's 50 years old.
But I'm talking about being a dominant player. He could probably be a dominant player till he's probably 38 or 39, just because of his body type. You know, he's not a big fatso like Shaquille. You know what I'm saying? Like Shaquille O'Neal, that kind of player. He's just like one massive muscle, you know, and that has a ton of ability. You know, I don't.
Tom Arnone, the Godfather, checking in. He wants LeBron. He
Well,
wants
how-
LeBron.
how
I know
could you-
Tommy A wants LeBron. He
How
gets
could you
it.
not?
He gets it.
Bob Brinkman. It's hard for a guard, even a scoring guard, to carry a team in this NBA. You're right, and he also feels that you got to have the pieces with a great scoring guard to win a championship. He's right.
He's
on the
right
nose
there. Jose Colon, what up, A2D Radio? What up, Jose? We're going to take our break. We'll be back exclusively on YouTube. Talk about the Philadelphia Phillies, the MLB, hockey, and still talking Sixers, LeBron James. Back right after this.
We are. We're live. We're live right now on HUDradio.com on YouTube for the second part of the show.
I don't believe you.
I believe you.
All right, HUD.
Believe me.
HUD
We're
Radio.
back.
We're back. Frank says we're back. It's got to be true. Exclusively
true.
on YouTube right now. Log on to YouTube.
There
Check
we
out
go.
the cool graphics. We're going to go around the MLB right now, Brad. Brad, what did I tell you about your Yankees? You just got to relax.
Yeah, they're looking pretty good right now.
They're going to, I mean,
They're looking pretty good. I mean,
what did I tell you? I told you Greg Bird
19
hit
out of
25 to
22.
30 home runs. They were going to win 110 games.
Yeah.
Even you laughed at me. This team's that good.
19 out of 20. Their last 22.
They're tied with the Red Sox atop the AL East. I want to talk about the Phillies because the Phillies go 5-1 on the homestand, but God damn it, they should have went
They should have won
6-0.
6-0.
Hector Neris is the worst. He's terrible. He's terrible. And then to make me even, I can't even speak right now. It makes me so mad. But then for Kapler to go up there and say, I get it. You stick up for your guy. He tells me his split finger's elite. Hector
No.
Neris' split finger is not elite.
No, he's been hanging it.
It's not an elite pitch. John Smoltz had an elite split finger. Zach Britton has an elite sinker.
Speaking of Zach Britton, okay, Zach Britton is expected back first week of June.
Perhaps that's a trade target at
That
the
should be-
deadline
if
that
you
the
are-
Phillies
if
can
you are the
target.
Phillies, okay, that is a guy that you should be looking at, and that is a guy Baltimore. That is a team, Baltimore, who would probably do business with the Phillies.
Yeah.
I know that like the Yankees certainly could use a left-handed pitcher of that caliber in their bullpen, but there is no way Baltimore is making any trades with the Yankees. But they would certainly make a deal with the
Right.
Phillies.
It's
and I
out of
think-
it's out of division. It's out of the league.
exactly, and the whole point is, you would not have to be giving up a top prospect to get him.
No, because he's
He's
coming
gonna
off
be
an
a free agent.
he's coming off an Achilles. He's going to be a free agent.
Exactly. But he is a top talent, top tier.
He's worth the risk for a middle tier.
He is one of the best left-handed relievers in the game.
I forget who put it up. Maybe it was Tom, Brodo, someone. Maybe it was someone not even with A2D. Should the Phillies be buyers or sellers at the trade deadline?
They
You
should
got
be
you got to
buyers.
buy.
You got to buy.
You're a game and a half
think
behind the
that's-
Braves.
I think
The
that,
Nationals are coming. They're coming.
Yeah, they are. I mean, but Zach Britton is a guy the Phillies should be paying close attention to when he comes back from his injury first week of June. And keep in mind he is a reliever, so as far as the Orioles stretching him out, they'll be stretching him out for maybe being able to throw 30 pitches. So that shouldn't take him that long.
I can't
that's a guy-
watch Hector Neris close
Yeah,
baseball games.
That's a guy.
I can't do it anymore.
That's a guy. Now the team I'd be worried about that would get a guy like that would be the Houston Astros. If the Houston Astros get him, I just as a Yankee fan, I just have to.
Well, you got to see how he pitches first before we get
Yeah,
ahead of ourselves.
I understand that, but I mean, if he's back to top form and somehow Houston
Now,
gets
which
him,
Achilles did he tear? Is it his push-off foot?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I'm not
Either
concerned.
way, it's not a good injury.
It's a terrible injury for any player, especially a pitcher. But I mean, it's not his arm. If he has strength in his foot that he could still land on it or push off. I mean, this guy is a tremendous talent. You know,
Another guy I would keep an eye on as far as the Phillies buying at the trade deadline is the closer for the Kansas City Royals, Kelvin Herrera.
Kelvin Herrera.
I think
is
he's
another one.
extremely good. He might cost you more.
Well, he's not a free
then-
agent anytime soon. I don't.
Correct. If my memory serves me correct, he signed a 3-year deal
All right, so
recently.
but he would be. I mean, he's solid. He's solid.
Very
and
good.
won-
He
and
would
won-
cost you more than Britton
Yeah, he
because
won
of
a-
his contract,
He won
and
a
he's under
championship.
control.
He also won a championship, so he knows how to win. You know,
You got to get me. You got to get me an arm.
Yeah,
Clint Tech's got to get me an arm out there in the bullpen.
He's definitely battle tested. What about Brad Hand? He's another one.
Anybody.
Brad Hand doesn't make a lot of money either.
That's fine.
He may have to give up
Perfect.
a little bit more for him, but
Perfect. Fine.
he'd be an outstanding addition as well. What about starting pitching? You think you might want to try to get a starter?
Yes, but bullpen.
Well, yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of bullpen pitchers available, a lot of top notch.
I mean, there always is.
Yeah, there always is, and there are some good ones that are out there right
You're going to have to
now.
offer up because the Cubs bullpen stinks.
Houston's bullpen stinks.
Houston's bullpen is not very good.
Cleveland right now, their bullpen has been
The Angels kind of do things by committee out there in their bullpen. They could use a
Toronto needs a
Toronto needs
with the Osuna situation.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's done.
Yeah, he's gonna be out a long
Not
time.
good. Not good.
Yeah, I mean he's going to try. He's already been indicted and is going to trial.
Oh,
I mean,
he's screwed.
I mean, he's. I
There's
know he's on
video and
administrative
everything.
leave. Are they gonna? I mean, are they gonna even let him pitch this year?
He's been on extended leave.
Well, he was on administrative leave for a week, but I mean they're
they
not going to let
extended
him.
that today.
Oh, okay, so he's not going to play.
He's gone. He's
Yeah,
done. They're
he's-
going to make an example of him, and he's going to be screwed.
Yeah, and he may end up in jail unless the girl makes a deal. Yeah, unless they pull a Greg Hardy and not show up in court. But I mean, he's in deep. But that's another one. I mean, I think there's a lot of teams that might be looking for some bullpen help. The Phillies could also use a starter though. It would not hurt them to try to go out and get a starter. I mean, they are finally back to being a competitive team again. You know, I think that the Mets are sinking. I think they're a sinking ship. I think the injuries, I think the age, I think it's catching up with them.
Well, DeGrom came back Sunday. He pitched 1 inning.
Yeah,
they take him out for precautionary reasons.
Well, he threw 45 pitches, and he couldn't put anybody away. So, I mean, you know, their staff after DeGrom and Syndergaard is pretty bad, and they don't hit. So you know, they're in trouble. They started off 11-2, and now they're only one game over 500.
the Braves are for real. They won today.
The Braves are pretty good.
6-5 over the Cubs.
Yeah, the Braves are going to be there. The
Nationals are coming.
The Nationals are a.
I'm still picking them
talented
to win
team.
the East.
Keep in mind though, the Nationals are not going to have an easy time the next 2 days. They're going to be facing the New York Yankees, so I wouldn't anticipate that they're going to be winning the next 2 games. They may split, but they're not going to win 2 in a row. It should be fun to see the Yankees going up against Max Scherzer.
Absolutely. Is he slated to pitch?
Yeah, he's going to be pitching tomorrow against Tanaka, and I think no, I'm sorry, Gio Gonzalez tomorrow against Tanaka, and then Scherzer against Sabathia on Wednesday. So those should be 2 very interesting games. Who are the Phillies playing this week? St. Louis?
They have the Cardinals.
Okay, they're in St. Louis. They have
Sure, our boy Chromo will probably be at the games.
Okay, so they're certainly not going to be easy. Phillies have to prove that they can beat good teams on the road. That's something that they're going to have to prove that they can do. They've proven one thing they've proven is that against bad teams that they can beat bad teams at home.
They're
can
playing
squash
well.
bad
They're
teams at
playing
home.
well, but their roster is still flawed.
Yes, I would agree. They still need a big bopper in the middle of that lineup. I mean, Rhys Hoskins is
Well,
not
they're going
having
to
a
sign
great-
Bryce Harper.
They need to.
Right field. They can stop with that stupid platoon of those idiots, Aaron
They
Altherr
need-
and
let's
Nick
put it this way.
Williams.
Either
Nick Williams can only pinch hit. That's
either
all he's good
Harper-
at, pinch hitting.
Yeah, either
Every
Harper-
time he comes up to pinch hit, he hits a home run.
Either Harper
It's unbelievable.
or
He goes in the
Machado.
starting lineup, he strikes out, he looks like an idiot. I don't get it. And Altherr, I mean, I've always been a fan of Altherr. I thought he was going to pan out to be a pretty good player, but I mean, the proof is in the pudding at this point. He's an average.
What is going on with Hoskins? I mean, Hoskins has 5 home runs right now and 25 RBIs.
I mean,
Something like that?
Hoskins, he's going to be fine. I mean, this is what happens with young players. They start off hot, the league adjusts. It's up to the player to readjust.
Are they not pitching to him, or is that more of the problem than anything else, or is it is he just swinging at bad
But
pitches?
see, this was my beef with like the Phillies expectations train that gets going. Like everyone got all jazzed up after the Eagles won. The Sixers were winning all those games in the row. And the Phillies came around, 85 wins, 90 wins, playoffs, this, that, and the other, city of champions.
It's not that easy.
It's not that. It's
No, it's not
not
that
for this
easy.
team. Hoskins going to struggle. Rhys Hoskins not going to hit 35 home runs. It's just not going to happen this year.
Not this year.
Doesn't
no.
mean he's not a great player. Doesn't mean he's not
Doesn't
going
mean
to
he
be
can't
a
have a
future
good
MVP
Doesn't mean
candidate.
he can't have a big second half either. But it's Santana is also going to start hitting too.
He has started hitting. His power's at least coming around.
He's a good hitter. I mean, he's going to be what the back of his baseball card says it is. He'll get 250, 260.
With a veteran
and
like
a lot
that,
of
you
home
know what you're
runs.
getting. He's a 162 game player.
Yeah, you're gonna get a good year out of him.
It's like Scott Kingery. Same reason. He's down like 219 batting average. He's got to play shortstop. He's out of position every night.
He's just got to make an adjustment. That's all.
Like, this is why I questioned paying him that kind of money with absolutely no track record in the major leagues.
Yeah, that's a big step.
It's a huge risk.
Yeah, it is a big step, but they're going to have to cut his playing time down a little bit.
Well, they can't with Crawford hurt. He's going to be in the lineup every day.
Oh, is he? Oh, well, he's going to have to figure it out then.
And the one bright spot, my boy, El Torito, Odubel Herrera.
He's been
hit 360, Brad.
That's amazing.
360.
360. I mean, that's a guy. That's a guy that's always been a good hitter, and he's really.
Boy, those
putting it
Odubel
together.
Herrera, man, those critics, we're hearing crickets on Facebook from those haters.
As you should. I mean,
my God, he's been unbelievable.
He's tearing it up. I mean, will he hit 360 for the whole season? I doubt it.
No,
but
I mean,
310, 315 is certainly not out of the question, though. And 310, 315.
Like
is
this
pretty
time
damn
last
good.
year, he was around 200, and he still hit 290 at the end of game 162.
Oh, he's looking like a big time player now.
He's always been a big time player. He for whatever reason, he just doesn't.
Well, he's doing it this year.
He's a hot dog.
He's doing it this year. Franco seems to be playing better.
Franco's
better
recovering.
This year.
He's recovering.
He seems to be. He seems to be.
The everyday 8 is not the problem with this team. Yeah, Hoskins, a little him. Kingery's struggling a little bit. Santana's been scuffling, but this team's been scoring runs. With Cesar Hernandez, he's one of the best second basemen going in the whole National League right now, if not the best.
He's hitting the ball.
And Herrera in center field, not only hitting 360, playing Gold Glove caliber defense in center field, by the way.
And showing a little power the last few games.
Absolutely.
Too.
Absolutely.
I mean, he's been
scoring runs has not been, and we talked about it in spring training. That was not going to be this team's problem.
We both agreed that that's not a problem. They'll score plenty of runs. It's run prevention, and as far as the pitching is concerned, Nola has pitched very well. You've gotten some very good outings out of Jake Arrieta. Certainly, you can't complain about him.
For the most part, Jake Arrieta has been lights out.
Yeah, he's been very, very good. The rest of the pitching staff has been better.
Aaron Nola's a beast. He's a top 10 pitcher in the major leagues.
The rest of them
haven't.
The rest of the staff has not really been bad.
Pivetta and Velasquez have done their job.
Yeah, they've helped.
And then you got a fifth spot that's kind of a question mark.
How many teams really have strong?
It's a good point.
Pitchers? You
get the
Astros,
really
you
get the Yankees. These are the teams that are running away with their divisions early on here.
But that's and the Diamondbacks. But I mean, how many teams really have good fifth pitchers?
The Dodgers did last year. They don't.
Not right now. They don't.
Talk about a team in trouble. The Dodgers. Oof.
Yeah, what are they? 8 games under 500 now?
They're not good.
Yeah,
not good.
They are in trouble because at this point, you wonder. I know it's only
playing a very hard division.
Yeah, it's only 40 games into the season, but if Arizona gets too far ahead of them, and then they have to start worrying about the wild card. There's a lot of good wild card teams, and I know Turner is coming back at some point this week.
Seager's done.
Seager is done. Is it Rao or is it the other one, Maeda?
Rue is on the DL.
He's done till the All-Star break. Kershaw, we don't really know when Kershaw is coming back. I mean, this is trouble for the Dodgers. I mean, they just got swept by the lowly Reds.
That's bad.
By the way, the Cincinnati Reds, did I hear this right, have won 6 in a row?
They started something like 3-18. Their manager got fired, and then they've been okay since.
Yeah.
So but the Rays, they won 9 in a row recently.
Yes, they did.
These
but they've
teams
been-
make a
they've
run.
been going-
Every team has players who are
going-
getting played.
They've been
paid,
going back to the. They're going back to the
big leaguers.
They're going back to the back of the class again. The Rays, though. I mean, they got humiliated yesterday by the Orioles.
They're the back of the class, so they have no talent.
No, I know. The Orioles. It looks
I'm just
like
saying,
the
even
Orioles look
teams
like
with
they're
no
gonna pass them.
talent, they're still big leaguers, and they're gonna put together a 2-week stretch
Oh, sure.
at some point.
Every team does.
The Reds did theirs now. The Rays did it a couple weeks ago. The Marlins
had their
were off to a
had-
decent start.
Yeah, they're like 14-26 now, so they're starting to fall into oblivion. Yeah, the free fall started certainly for them. You got to start wondering with them when they're going to start trade Justin Bour and Starlin Castro and Real Muto. I mean, you got to figure that these guys are going to be gone soon.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way. There's no reason for them to keep guys like that. Those players are too valuable on the right team. Tell you what, Justin Bour would be a very good player for the Yankees. You put him.
The
at
Yankees
first base.
have a they might as well play with a cardboard cutout of Tino Martinez at first base. With the production that they're getting out of their first base slot right now.
I agree.
And they're still what?
They're still 28-12.
28-12.
Yeah,
They've won 19 out of 20.
19 out of 22.
19 out of 22. Excuse me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look.
I told you this team was.
Yeah, no, you're
I
right.
told you this team was going to win 110 games,
They've
and
already
you laughed at me,
they've
and I
already
backed off because you laughed at me, and Greg Bird got hurt.
They've already got.
Just stuck to my guns.
They've already got 4 guys with at least 10 home runs in the middle of May.
Are they going to have 4 guys with 40 bombs? Gregorius, he's not going to hit 40
I don't think
bombs.
Gregorius is going to hit 4. He's not. I mean, he's not
might.
that kind of a hitter. He might hit 30 though.
Are you done burying Giancarlo Stanton now?
He's starting to come around
He
now.
had 4 hits yesterday.
Yeah, no, I know he did. He had a home run, a double.
I told you to
and 2
relax.
singles.
It's warm out now. He's
Yeah,
from Miami, man.
Well, supposedly he was having trouble picking up the ball in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, you just
And
give him a
he
little bit of time.
Supposedly he changed his stance a little bit. He made himself more closed, and now he's seeing the ball better. This is according to Harold Reynolds of MLB.
I like
So-
Harold Reynolds.
Yeah,
He
Harold
knows
Reynolds
his
is-
stuff.
Harold Reynolds said that he. I was listening to the Fan the other day, and Harold Reynolds had said that he had talked to Giancarlo, and Giancarlo said that he was having trouble picking up the ball in
Is
Yankee
it Mike
Stadium.
Francesca's show?
No, this was not Mike Francesa's show. This was Beningo and Roberts. But they had talked to him. They had him. They had Harold Reynolds on because they actually let the guys that they interview. They actually let them talk, which Mike still has a little issue with that.
He's a loudmouth New Yorker who has to have the spotlight, and he's
He-
annoying, and I hate him.
I mean, he doesn't always let his interviewers talk. But Harold Reynolds said this.
I mean,
and-
talk about riding Mad Dog Russo's coattails.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Give
I mean,
me a break.
Listen, the WFAN's ratings went up immediately as soon as he came back. So I mean, there's the New York sports fans like him. So I mean, you can't argue that. They most definitely like him. They don't like some of the other people on that show.
Dion Brown checking in on YouTube. What happened
happened?
that we
Yeah.
dropped out of first place, fell behind? The Braves were playing excellent baseball. That's what happened.
Sticking with 90 to 95
90 to
games.
95 wins. I mean, Dion, come on. I know
90 to 95 win.
he's Mr. Philadelphia.
90 to
4 for
95.
4 guy through and through, but 90 to 95 wins.
You're asking
I
an
don't
awful
see
lot.
it.
That's asking a lot.
That's a
I
lot
could
of
see
games.
I could see 85 to 87. And that would be a major improvement for them. I could see like 87 and 75.
Playoff run, maybe. I think they're a year
90
away.
wins.
I think they're a year. I think they're
90
a.
wins is a lot. You have to remember, 90 wins is a lot of wins in baseball.
Absolutely, especially in
That's a
the
lot.
National League this year. Yeah, the AL is very top heavy, but
There's a lot of really bad teams in the American League.
there are
There are a lot of bad.
White Sox, the Royals, the Rangers,
the Tigers,
the Tigers, the
Orioles,
Orioles, the Rays.
They're all
That's
really
a
bad.
top heavy. That's a top
I
heavy
mean,
league.
the National League
Really, there's only like 3 or 4 teams that I would say.
Well, the Padres, the Reds,
Miami's not making the playoffs.
Miami is god awful. Right now, there are more horrible teams in the American League than there are in the National League. Most definitely. I mean, some of the surprising teams around the league are like the Oakland A's, who've been playing 500 baseball.
This is what they do, though. They're going to
they're
go
a surprising
81 and
team.
81.
That would be a major improvement for them. They were terrible last year.
Yeah, but then they're going to trade all their good players either at the trade deadline or at the winter meetings and just be bad again. Then they'll build up the 500 and they just.
Yeah, I don't know.
They just
they've
roll
got
it
some,
over.
You know, they've got some young talent on that team now. I would think that they would.
Poor Billy Beane, man. I mean, or even a Phillies payroll for that matter.
Maybe
but like
$100 million payroll would probably would suffice for him.
But like a payroll like the Braves payroll. Like
the Braves payroll is only about $80 million this year, isn't it?
Right, but that's that's by they get a lot of young guys. I'm sure they're gonna pay Acuna and Albies and
but other than Freeman,
I'm sure Freeman's locked up.
Freeman and
they got some nice arms there.
Pitcher.
The Braves got it figured out. I mean, the Braves they're gonna be good for years to come. They got Fulton Evans and Newcomb. Tehran's bouncing back.
Tehran's bounced back. Yeah, I mean they're really looking like a real good young team. I mean they're having the breakthrough season that the Yankees had last year. The Braves, I think they're like 1 year behind the Yankees as far as getting to where they want to be.
And their prospects, they're not even close to done coming.
No, I know.
Unbelievable farm system. For as good as the Yankees farm system is cracked up to be, I think the Braves is just a little bit better.
Well, most of the Yankee guys are already up, so I mean,
right.
I mean, at this point, I mean, Judge, Sanchez, and Andujar and
starter role. The Texas Rangers absolutely steady wants to end his career as a Philly.
I could see him back in Philly. He would be a good trade target.
That would be excellent.
Depending on the money, if the Phillies are 500.
Yeah,
I mean, that's definitely gonna hurt the Mariners as far as their offense is concerned. So we'll have to see about that.
Deion Brown, we're only 1.5 games behind Atlanta. I'd rather be.
What you gotta worry about.
Pitching is the bullpen is very shaky out in the big leagues. I have no clue.
What you gotta worry about.
The fact that he's 28 and still in AAA, that's a concern.
Well,
but
let's be honest, the Washington Nationals are still the team to beat in that.
Funny ankle procedure. Harper's killing it. Daniel Murphy hasn't played yet. Zimmerman's been banged up.
Zimmerman hasn't been good. Matt Adams has been a revelation for that team.
Zimmerman's been hurt, which he tends to do sometimes.
Yes.
But I mean, when you have Scherzer and Strasburg at the top, with Doolittle at the back end, and you also have Gio Gonzalez in your starting rotation, that's a lot of talent. That's a lot of experience. That's gonna amount to a lot of wins.
Yeah, I agree. We go to the bottom of the ninth now in Boston with the Oakland A's having a very slender 6-5 lead. I'm sure Blake Treinen will be in the game for the A's.
Ooh, I hope he gets that save fantasy.
You have him?
He's on one of my teams somewhere.
Yeah, Blake Treinen has good stuff, by the way. Gotta tell you, I was pretty impressed with the way he pitched on Friday night.
The Rays beat the Royals tonight, 2-1 in a barn burner. Seattle, Minnesota got a late start. It's bottom 3 there. It's 0-0. This afternoon, Atlanta topped Chicago at Wrigley Field, 6-5.
What is going on with the Cubs?
The Cubs stink. Is what's going on with the Cubs. The Cubs' starting rotation is garbage, or at least they shouldn't be garbage, but they're playing like garbage. They have no bullpen. They have no leadoff hitter. Ian Happ has been terrible.
Ian Happ has really been bad.
Really, they have Bryant Rizzo and Wilson Contreras as your 2, 3, 4 hitters, 3, 4, 5, however Madden wants to stack them.
What's going on with Baez? Is he doing anything?
Baez was off to a hot start. He's an elite defender, but, I mean, he's better than Ian Happ. Ian Happ is terrible.
He and Russell are not big hitters.
No, Russell is more of a defender.
Yeah, they're
as is Baez.
They're offensively they're very overrated.
I don't understand it. A team thinks they're going to contend, and they just disregard center field.
Well, they let Dexter Fowler.
They
go,
let
did they
Dexter
not?
Fowler go, and Dexter Fowler's been horrible in St. Louis this year.
Yeah, but he
but
was real good in Chicago.
He was
though.
real good in Chicago.
And Chicago's paid.
I don't think they win the World Series over the Indians that year without him in the leadoff spot
No,
with
but
his glove in.
They're paying all that money for Justin Hayward.
And he's been okay this year, Hayward. He's been not as bad offensively as he's been in the past 2 years, and he's an elite defender. But he can't hit leadoff. Dexter Fowler was center field leadoff every day for them.
Yeah, well, and that's
And they
what-
let Wade Davis go free. I get it. You don't want to pay a closer of that age what the Rockies paid. That's fine, but if you expect to win the World Series, which that's the expectation for the Cubs,
as it should be.
you got to have a strong back end of the bullpen. You have a good center fielder.
Who is their closer now? Holland? Did they sign it? Is he the one they signed?
Who's the Cubs closer?
Is their Frank? Is their Cubs closer Holland?
Holland?
He's on the
let me
Cardinals.
Oh, he's
see.
on the Cardinals. Okay.
Uh,
Who is the Cubs closer?
They have Hand, right?
No, Hand is on the Padres.
Let's figure it out. Here we go. The closer chart.
Who's the closer for the Cubs? Any of you fans out there? Who know-
Brendan Morrow.
Brandon
Wow, he's
There
still
it
in the
is.
league. Jeez.
Brandon Morrow.
That's
Wow.
nothing to write home about.
Brandon.
Jeez.
Doesn't his shoulder tend to give out if a pigeon poops on it?
Yeah.
Isn't he usually out for like 2 weeks
Man.
with pigeon poop on his shoulder? Because that guy's always
Wow.
injured.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got brilliant control.
He's
and
got good control,
he's,
but
he's a brilliant pitcher. I mean, he's
jeez,
got
wow.
great fastball. I mean, he's got good stuff, but he's always getting hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, Lester Darvish, Hendricks, Quintana, Tyler Chatwood as the fifth starter. That should be good enough.
It should be. By the way, what is with Lester that when he was in the American League, he wasn't such a joke as far as holding runners on base. What is up with that? What happened to him that he can't hold a base runner on?
I don't know. He should be able to. He's a lefty.
I mean, that is
He should have a
crazy.
strong pickoff move. I don't understand it. I don't understand what's going on with the Cubs. They better get it together because the Cardinals have talent. The Brewers have talent. The Pirates
Brewers
are
the Brewers are in first place, and their whole pitching staff's on the DL now. Right, Anderson's on the DL.
Junior Guerra is pitching well. They had a prospect come up on Sunday. He struck out 13 guys in his debut.
Who-
So maybe they can rely on
Who's
him.
who's the other? Jimmy Nelson. He's on the DL. I mean,
Yeah, they're hitting.
yeah.
They're capitalizing on the Cubs not playing good baseball.
Yeah.
If the Cubs keep not playing good baseball,
And watch out because the Cardinals are playing well. Although, Wainwright, who they were counting on yesterday, came back from the DL and pitched 2 innings and walked 50 and gave up a bunch of hits, and now he's back on the DL again. So I think that might be it for Wainwright.
I mean the Reds are a rollover. They're a
The Reds
pushover in
stink.
that. But I mean,
Pittsburgh's playing a lot better
everyone
than
thought the
anybody thought.
Pirates were going to be a pushover, but they're playing scrappy. Their outfield's really good with Dickerson, Polanco, and Marte.
Yeah, now the interesting thing is I think Jun-Ho Kang, is that his name?
Yeah, Trump let him back in the country with
Yeah,
all those
he's-
DUIs.
Yeah, he's back. He's
Wow.
He's back in, and he's gonna. I guess he's gonna play third base when he's when he gets enough at bats in the minor leagues. But he was an awfully good hitter.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see about him, but I mean he's certainly a guy.
All
that I
right,
think
Brad,
will
we got
look
about 9 minutes left, and they're itching to talk about hockey. But Alexander Ovechkin,
Yeah,
playing
he's
like
making
a
us eat
beast.
he's making us both eat our words.
I'm still not buying it. Yeah, he's got two wins. He's halfway to the cup.
Yeah, but you know what? Maybe, just maybe, when you get over the hump, when you finally get over the hump, which was the Pittsburgh Penguins, that's always been such a roadblock for them, year after year. You got to wonder, maybe now they ride that momentum, and maybe that momentum gets them into the finals.
It certainly looked it for the first
They
two
certainly
games.
beat the pants off of the Tampa Bay Lightning, and I'll tell you what, the Tampa Bay
Didn't see
Lightning.
much of game one, but I did see
Well, I just so
Game
Washington.
2.
Washington basically is just physically.
They bamboozled them.
They're just
Well,
bigger and
Alexander
stronger.
Ovechkin is using his size and his strength finally. He's finally realized that he's bigger and stronger than everyone. He's driving to the net and making things happen.
Somebody must have said to him, you're allowed to go to the net. You don't have to just stand at the off wing at the faceoff circle and blast away. You are allowed to go to the front of the net and score some garbage goals. They don't have to be picture goals all the time because he's having a very good playoff series, and Kuznetsov looks like he's playing great. Kucherov on Tampa Bay is not doing anything. The rest of Tampa Bay's defense right now looks horrible. They look old and and slow, and you gotta wonder right now. All these guys who used to be Rangers, by the way, Dan Girardi, Ryan McDonough, Anton Stroman. I mean, they're all getting a little long in the tooth. Could they be running out of gas? I mean that's a question.
It's looking like that right now.
That's a question you have to wonder.
They lost. I mean, they lost game 1. That's no big deal. They lost game 1 against Boston, then won 4 straight.
Yeah, but
then they got tattooed in game 2, 6-2.
Yeah, I mean they got slaughtered.
Your Lightning are in trouble.
They got they scored the first goal. To make it 1-0 yesterday, and then they stopped skating. And I mean Washington. It just seemed like when Washington got the puck in the offensive zone and were attacking, it just seemed like it was their puck, and Tampa Bay could not get the front of the net clear. Vasilevsky could not see the shots, and it just seemed like the Capitals just owned them yesterday. And you got to wonder now that they're going back to Washington, is Tampa Bay has to win both those games. They can't afford to go down 3-1 and expect to beat that team 3 straight times. That's not going to happen.
Not at all.
That's not going to happen. Not in the semifinals. Very rare. Comebacks like that are possible in the early rounds because sometimes a team just doesn't get going. But boy, oh boy, if they get down 3-1 or 3-0, they're not coming back from that. And maybe the Capitals are finally going to get to the finals, and maybe they can even win one. I mean, one thing they do have over everybody else is the experience.
Are they good enough to beat the 2 monsters that are playing in the Western Conference Finals, though?
That remains to be seen.
The Jets are really good.
The Jets and the Knights have blazing speed. And that's not something the Capitals really have. The Capitals are just a big, strong, mean team. And they're not the kind of team that's going to run and gun. But they're the kind of team that can dump the puck in, send those big bodies in and forecheck you and whack you in the corner and wear you down. And, in a long series, that almost always makes the difference. They're a dangerous team. They really are. As much as I hate to say it, because I'm not a big fan of Washington, but
who do you have in that series?
Between who?
The Jets and the Knights.
The Jets and the Knights. I mean, I like the Jets because they have home ice. I'm rooting for the Knights. I would have to say the Jets just because they have home ice. But I mean, right now the Knights are ahead. Last time I looked, it was still 2-0 late in the second period. So, God bless them. That team. Every time you think that team is going to run into trouble, they just surprise you more and more. And Jonathan Marchessault again scored tonight. I mean, these are guys between him and some of these other guys they have in their team. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, I watched the Jets and the Knights play. It was their game 1.
The Jets have more talent than they do.
They're good. But, I mean, watching those 2 teams skate and pass just makes me look at how far the Flyers are away from contending for anything.
They're very fast. By the way, the Oakland A's knocked off the Boston Red Sox. Sean Manaea once again beats the Red Sox, and the Yankees are now by themselves in first place again.
Half game up.
Half a game. Yeah, because they're not playing tonight.
That brief pause with Sean Manaea, I thought he threw another no against the Sox. that brief pause.
No, but
is that who he no-hit?
Yeah.
The Sox?
Sean Manaea no-hit the Sox.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, Sean Manaea is a real good pitcher. I mean, especially when he's when he's not walking guys and he's controlling the strike zone. I mean, that guy throws hard. His ball moves. He's tough. He's real tough. He's definitely become a ace on that staff. You know, Oakland is a little better than I thought they were going to be this year. You know,
they got Olsen and Chapman.
Yeah, they're not bad. Semien is a very good leadoff hitter. I mean, he's a pesky little player for sure. LaCroix seems to be rejuvenated. He's playing awfully good ball. Chris Davis is hitting a ton of home runs for them.
He's going to strike out 200 times. He's going to hit 40 home runs.
No, that's what he does.
That's what he does every year.
Except he's not playing left field this year.
What's he exclusively a DH?
Yeah, which is a good thing for Oakland because he doesn't.
No,
he's not an impressive outfielder. No, he's pretty bad. He's in the J.D. Martinez class of outfield play. Which leads me to this: are the Red Sox going to end up trading Jackie Bradley? Because boy, I hear nothing but bad things coming out of Boston about him.
What's coming out of Boston about him?
They just don't like him. He can't. They don't think he hits enough.
I mean, okay.
I mean, who are you going to put?
Okay.
They want to put Mookie. They want to put Mookie in center. They want to put JD in right.
Okay.
And Benintendi in left.
That's fine, but when JD Martinez starts making some errors that cost you runs,
yeah, with JD Martinez in right field in Fenway Park, that's a big.
Don't be looking around for Jackie Bradley when you ran him out of town when he's one of the best defensive outfielders in the whole major league.
I mean, that's.
I think that would be a grave error. Trading him.
I mean, right field in Fenway Park, you better be a good outfielder. And if they're moving Mookie,
JD Martinez is not.
No, Mookie,
he's not a good outfielder.
Mookie is a tremendous player, and he's a tremendous outfielder, and he can certainly play center. But if you're moving him from right to center and you're putting JD in right, that could be very, very shaky.
And you're hamstrung because you have Hanley Ramirez who can only DH. He can't play anywhere in the field.
They've been playing him at first base, although he's kind of like watching him play first base is kind of like.
Yeah, but they have Mitch Moreland, who's hitting right now and is an excellent defender.
Outstanding at I'll tell you what, he made some plays.
He's a Gold Glove caliber defender.
He made some plays that were just remarkable. I mean, he fields ground balls as well as anybody. He's great on throwing the ball to second base and getting the force play. You know, when he digs balls out of the dirt, he's really smooth at first base. I mean, obviously I haven't watched a lot of him play because he played in Texas all those years, but I do watch a lot of Boston. He's real smooth around that bag. And Hanley Ramirez has been hitting for the Red Sox. I gotta.
He had a great
season.
season.
He's really hitting the ball. The Red Sox can hit. 8 and 9's a little shaky, but 1 through 7, they're as good as anybody. Other than maybe my team, which obviously can hit 1 through 9. There doesn't seem to be a weak spot on that team. But other than that, they're probably as good as anybody. Them, Houston. Although Houston has not been hitting too much this year.
Houston gonna be fine.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying they haven't been hitting all that much this year. They're what are they like 24 and 16, 25 and 15 or something like that.
Just about halftime in Houston, the Warriors hold a 1-point lead. We're going to wrap things up here so I can get home and watch the game. That'll do it for the Sports Hounds. This week, we'll be back with you next Monday, 8 to 10. We'll be off Memorial Day. Last show before a hiatus for Memorial Day. Rob Brinkman, Brad Ryer, Frank Vesby. See you next week.